Hi, I'm Saundra and I'm back with part 2 in my video series Gone to the Beach. Today I'm sharing with you a 2-page 12 by 12 layout using various size photos. And for my background paper, I'm pulling from 2 collections. Both collections are from Paper House. Lake Life is on the left and At the Beach is on the right. I'm starting with a 3-tier mat. The pretty water paper with the light playing on it was in my stash, and I believe I got it at Michael's. The ruby and amber paper are both from Bazzill. So, to mat or not to mat? I brought the question up in a previous video, but I didn't really elaborate on it. Whenever I scrapbook, one of the things I'm thinking about is, what can I do to enhance my photos and bring out the image and the colors? In the case of these photos taken on a very overcast day, I'm using brighter colors, the colors that are in the photos on the mat, to really help the photos pop up more. I don't want them to get lost in the background. I'm using a 3-tier mat over a single mat to add dimension, so the photos will pop up even more. Matting also gives the photos a defined space. I should really say a defined finished space, so the photos can stand alone. They have a fair shot at being the focal point of my layout, the focal point of my story, even if I choose not to do any journaling. And also when I start layering, the photos aren't lost in the layering that I place behind them. There are several reasons to mat a photo. For example, my photos here were all printed without a border around them. So if I mat my photos, I'm creating a border which I can also then use to build my layout off of. Anyway, I love matting my photos. I really think it adds to them. And I don't always do it. There are a few layouts that I choose not to for whatever reason. Maybe if I'm doing a lot of layering behind the photo, I might frame it with the layering. I guess the choice in to mat or not to mat would be looking at your photos and seeing what you can do to have your photo marry well with your layout. And sometimes matting helps that, particularly once you start using embellishments and maybe memorabilia on top of that. So those are just a few of the reasons why I sometimes choose to mat. It's right up there with layering, something I really enjoy doing, and watching How to Get Away with Murder and drinking wine and eating Twizzlers. Anyway, the layout. What I'm trying to do in a layout is use as many products from the 2 packs and any other items that I have in my stash that are beach related. And that surfboard, which I tried desperately to use in part 1, makes it to this page. I'm so happy because I think it's just too cute and adorable. The surfboard is from a different collection by Carta Beach Day, and they're element stickers. And it's I just really like that surfboard. I'm glad it made it to this layout. What I'm working on here is layering the photo that's going to be at the top of this page. And I don't want it to sit on top of the photo that's going to be at the end of the boardwalk and popped up a little bit. So I want the layering to go across the page, and on the opposite page I'm also having layering there, and I'm trying to use the same types of layers so that it marries somewhat. Since I used very different background papers, I can use the layering, the framing, embellishments, and whatever else I add to the pages to tie the 2 of them together. For whatever reason, I fussed a lot with this page. I kept second guessing everything that I was doing, switching things back and forth, relaying it out, and kind of felt like I was doing the same thing over and over again, because when I started the layout, I knew exactly what I was going to do with the photos, but I didn't really sit down and think about what am I going to do with the rest of the layout? And sometimes it's just like that. You have to fuss with it until you get it to go where you want it to be. Back to scrapbooking. So what's going on here? That sun, I fell in love with it. I thought it was just way too cute. I went to stamp it, and whatever it's made of, the ink would not dry on it. It just wouldn't stick to it. It has like a waxy coating, and so it just didn't work. So I took the template that the stamp came in, and the ink from this went everywhere. It got over everything. I had to pause and clean up. It was all over my hands, all over, it went everywhere. But thank God it didn't get on a layout. So what I ended up doing was taking the template that this sun was on, and then this is what I'm doing now. And I laid it on a beautiful color paper, also from Bazzill. And I used my X-Acto knife, my trusty X-Acto knife, and I trimmed out the sun. The stamp worked perfectly on this paper. And every time I looked at it, I kept thinking, oh no, I really want the other sun, but it turned out very nice, so I was pleased. And I was able to wipe off the ink. It came clear off the other sun, and I could probably use it again somewhere else. I just can't stamp it. Anyway, that is really cute. And I trimmed it out a little bit more, and it worked just perfectly. The original sun I pulled out was from Echo Park Splendid Sunshine, so I'll get to keep, and you'll probably see that pop up in another layout, because that was too cute too. And I have to say again that I'm really excited that I finally got up the nerve to join this online community. I was so nervous to do this. I'm so excited for it. I'm learning so much. I'm learning about filming, lighting, speaking into a mic, what to say, what not to say, sound, editing. There's so much to learn. And I do appreciate any comments or advice, any tips that you'd like to share with me. The best part about all of this for me is that I'm sharing what I'm doing and getting my photos into scrapbooks. And that's my real goal, is to take all these photos that I've been looking at on a disc or the computer or in my phone, wherever, and get them into beautiful scrapbooks. So I do appreciate your comments. What am I doing now? That little strip that I'm putting down now, I'm actually using that for my journaling. It comes from a 6x6 pack of paper by Seashore. And I really like what it has written on it. It says, watch the waves, bask in the sun, breathe the ocean air, dig your toes into the sand. And it has a few words scattered around: enjoy, relax, and smile. And this really helps me with this layout because I'm not putting any journaling on it. I'll show it to my daughter and my husband, and if they want to add any journaling to it, I have a space on the right side of the page that they can do that on. But I wasn't planning on journaling. I think the pictures tell the story. It's the second page in a series. It's an ongoing story. There was journaling on the first page, and I didn't feel the need to have to put journaling on this page. And you don't always have to do that. Sometimes the pictures tell the story, and it's not something you're going to forget. These pictures were at the beach. In the first pages of this series, it says which beach we're at and how old Isabella is, all the important stuff. So I didn't feel the need or that I had to do journaling. And that's also a choice. I mean, you don't always have to write a novel. You don't always have to write a novel about what your pictures are about. And with that said, I do think it is important, though, to somehow tell the story. Because years from now, when, like my daughter's looking at this or her children are looking at this scrapbook, it would be nice that the answers to any questions they have are in here. So when you're doing a series of layouts from one event, if you're doing your journaling at the beginning of the series, that will cover the whole, all the photos for that story, perhaps. So these 2 pages won't have any journaling, but 1 or 2 of the other pages may. When I first started scrapbooking, it was like 2003, 2004, somewhere around there, and I would go to crops. I would see ladies writing novels. I mean, like a page about their pictures, and I thought, wow, that's really awesome. And I wasn't able to do that. I didn't have as much to say about some of the photos that I scrapbooked. And some of the photos I had a lot to say. And when I started going to even more scrapbooking events, and I would see some of the scrapbookers writing a page about a photo, and I decided I would start asking them questions because scrapbooking was so new to me, and how or why are you writing so much about the photo? And for some of them, they said they journal. And so they combined their journaling and their scrapbooking, which I thought was pretty awesome. And they carried traveling journals with them, or they had a notebook where they would sit down at the end of the day and write about a particular event. And that really helped with the journaling later on. So for me, whenever I'm journaling now, and it's always been this way, if I can't remember, if I don't know the story of the picture, I'll go to the people in the picture or ask questions. But one of the things that will help whenever you're journaling is to ask those questions. Who, what, when, where, why? Who are in the picture? What is the event? When did it take place? Where and why? And that will normally give you enough stuff to journal about a picture. And for me, I'm more on the creative side of decorating my layouts and making everything look pretty. But I don't want to miss one of the most important reasons why I do this, and that is definitely to tell the story of the photos. And sometimes that story is short and sweet and to the point, and it takes only a few lines, and sometimes it takes a lot more. And either way, it's okay. And whatever it is that works for you and what you're wanting to do with your scrapbook. It almost scared me when I first started scrapbooking and looking at the talent and what other people were doing with their scrapbooks. And here I am, a newbie, and I'm like, I can't do this. I don't know how to do that. Why are they doing that? Where did they get that product from? I mean, it was just a list of questions. And because I kind of jumped into scrapbooking and fell, in love with it, I really, really wanted to be good at it and to make my album something that my family and I would really enjoy. So I had to, take a step back and not look at so much at what everyone else was doing, learn from them, yes, but not feel that my scrapbook had to look like everybody else's scrapbook, because all their scrapbooks didn't look alike either. Everyone was unique, had their own talents, had their own style, and that's one of the things I like about scrapbooking. It's like going into a museum and you look at all these different paintings and you go, wow, this is awesome. When I look at other people's scrapbooks, it's the same sort of thing. Well, I don't know. Maybe not on museum level, but but it's very creative, very artsy. There's so much talent. And if you watch different people's videos, you'll see that it's just amazing at the different styles of so many people out there and what it is they do. And so you can learn from so many people out there because there's a lot of talent. Okay, so enough on journaling and, to mat or not to mat. Let's see where I'm at with this. And whether or not it looks like it, I'm actually on the home stretch, almost. So that cute balloon button, that's from Shimelle. And those yellow sunglasses, I got those in Michael's. They came in a pack of all these different color, cute little sunglasses. And I go in there way too much, but it's right next door to the grocery store I shop in. So it's kind of hard to go in one without the other. You know, Michael's and then Mom's. So I jumped ahead to where I'm attaching everything on this page down. So having the sister page right next to it really helps because the layering on both pages are going to marry somewhat. I'm not quite sure what my style of scrapbooking is. I know I like trying new things. I love experimenting, sometimes pushing myself a bit further than I did the last time. And today I'm doing something more traditional, which is fine. So I kind of bounce back and forth. But what I find when I sit down to scrapbook, even when I have a solid plan in my head, when you're creating something, it kind of takes you wherever it wants to go. And sometimes where it's taking you is not where you saw yourself going. But it's nice sometimes to just let go and kind of go with the flow and see what happens. And try something new, step out of your comfort zone. That to me, that's what art is all about. And scrapbooking is definitely art. My husband constantly reminds me that it's art. I always say, I'm just scrapbooking. And he's like, no, that's art. And he's right. I think a part of me looks at it as it's too much fun to be art. He's an artist. He paints on these huge canvases and he makes these beautiful paintings. So when I look at a scrapbooker online or at a crop or even one-on-one with a friend, I, I look at what they're doing and I'm curious, like why did they choose that particular background paper? Why are they using that tool that's meant for one thing the way they're using it now? And the experiments that people are doing. And I see scrapbookers like have come such a long way since I started back in 2003 or 2004. And my family probably thinks I'm nuts. I love scrapbooking and I would be totally happy scrapbooking all day long and getting some traveling in. But nevertheless, I find myself wanting to really push myself further and experiment more and see what I can do with my pages that I haven't done before. So as traditional as this might be, my next page probably won't be so traditional. And I'll bounce back and forth. And I don't think that any style of scrapbooking, there's no wrong style. There's no right and wrong to scrapbooking because it's a creative process. It's for fun, and every page can't take you 5 or 6 hours to do because you'll never get your albums done. Or I don't know, if you have as many pictures as I have, you will never get your albums done. So anyway, let's finish this up. And that cute little umbrella that I'm laying down is from Sandy Lion Essentials. They're just a cute little sticker pack full of neat little things. So I am using the branding strips. And it's kind of neat because you're pulling branding strips from pages that are from the 4 pages in this series of layouts. So yeah, it is pretty neat. And I used a base to put the branding strips on so that it was easier to make it go on a layout straight. So in part 3 of Gone to the Beach, I'm going to try painting. I'm also going to try turning a page upside down and putting my layout on it and see what happens. That's the page that I'm painting. So I hope you join me for part 3 of Gone to the Beach. And I'm trying to think of another series of layouts that I can do. And I'm thinking about a baby album or a series of doing black and white photos. I'll probably do both of them. I'm not sure which one I'll do first. But I don't know. I'll see what happens. Anyway, that tool that I keep using, the blue and white tool, tool. It's from Creative Memories. It's a multi-purpose tool. And as you can see, I use it for everything, and I feel like I'm lost without it. So where am I? I am getting ready to do the branding strips on the right side. That right hand corner, that also has like a little sharp edge. So I want to smooth it out and even it out a little bit more, like I did the other side. So for me, the hardest part about scrapbooking, besides not having a plan, like in this particular layout, I didn't really formulate a full plan of what I wanted to do. But the hardest part is when to stop, because sometimes I find myself um, wanting to keep going. What else can I add to the page, or is something missing from the page? And when the more I scrapbook, I find that I can say I'm going to stop when I do a certain thing. When I put on the bling, then I'm not doing anything else, and then it becomes a habit. Then it's like this will always be the last thing that I put on a page. In the first series in this layout, Gone to the Beach, I did some painting. And that small little blue square that I just laid down, and the one that's on the left page, I saved some of it. I cut out part of that page, and that was underneath the photo, and I'm using it here on this page. So I'm pulling things from past pages onto pages that are in the series. Um, you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you like, but I just thought I had this extra blue strips, and it was really fun making it and painting and trying something new. And I don't know where else I might use them, and I don't want to toss them out. It was a lot of work, so if you see that video, you'll get what I mean. And I don't know about work, but maybe fun. It was a lot of fun. I don't know. I might have to go back and take a look at that video, but it was fun. I like painting. I'm not, I don't know, I'm not a painter, but I think the more you try something, or I try something that's out of my comfort zone, I'll get better at it. These brads that I'm laying down now, just to switch over for a moment and back to scrapbooking, are from the Seashore collection. And they have a little like tail on the back of it that you're supposed to poke through your paper, and then you clip it back. And I chose to take those off. I took them off with a pair of heavy duty scissors and super glue it down because I didn't want to punch a hole through my paper. And that blue square of paint, to put it through that would have been hard because it was very thick, and so I don't know, it might not have gone through so well. And the place that I chose to put down the second brad on top of my mat, I didn't want to dig through that either. So I, again, just glued it down, and it worked just perfectly. And they are little anchors. So it's kind of nice, like everything's the same theme, and it's marrying pretty well together, even though that comes from a different collection. I am definitely at the home stretch. I'm about to put down some bling, something I don't always do. But these are from Recollections. They're adhesive rhinestones, and they're kind of a gold tone. So the coloring goes really well with this particular layout. And I used rhinestones on the two previous pages, so it's something that I'm carrying through all the pages in this particular layout. And I also put a lighthouse on the page on the left, which I have in the first page, the first two pages that I did. So these photos are from the year 2000. My daughter is 3 years old, and my husband has a ponytail. And some years later, he cut off his ponytail, and when he came home and my daughter saw him for the first time, she was not happy. She looked at him and she was like, "Who are you?" All she knew was her daddy had a ponytail and this guy does not. But she got used to it. It took a little while. She wanted him to grow it back, but he did not. And he looks quite handsome without it. He looked quite handsome with it, but it worked either way for him. So, and for me. Anyway, so what do I like about this layout? A few things. Besides the background paper, and it works so nicely with the photos, the embellishments. I think the embellishments really flatter the the photos and the layout and really fit the theme of what's going on here. And I'm so happy again that I got my surfboard in there and the beach ball. But anyway, I'm coming to an end. I'm putting down the last bit of bling, and I will show you the first two pages of this layout and some stills. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you again for stopping by and taking a look. And please like and subscribe and leave me some comments. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you'd like to see, and if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks again, and see you soon. Well, not see you, but you'll be out there. Happy scrapbooking and have an awesome day.